Many a times we hear that some doctor is very good at the diagnosis. What makes him better than others? Apart from the good knowledge of the subject, the key factor is the proper history taking. It is said that more than 80% of the diagnosis can be reached with the history alone. Over the last few decades, we have seen a revolution in the investigations and diagnostic modalities, but the art of history taking has remained almost similar. No doubt, even in 21st century, art of history taking is taught in every medical college all across the world. Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Khazi Arifuddin and I am a general surgeon. In this video, I will be taking you through the structure of perfect history taking and will be giving you the importance of each and every question that is being asked in regular history taking. So let's get started. For the ease of understanding, history taking is divided into the 10 segments. Let's see each and every segment one by one. First is the demographic data. In demographic data, we ask about the personal details of the patient, that is name, age, sex, occupation, religion, and address of the patient. Now let's see one by one why these details are asked. We ask name of the patient for identification. For example, there can be two patients with a similar name. So by asking the full name, we can properly identify that particular patient. Apart from that, name is very important for documentation. Suppose a patient comes for follow-up. So by just looking at the name of that patient, we can get hold the record of that patient. No doubt, if the patient calls a person by his name, so patient feels comfortable that the doctor knows me by my name. So the patient will be more comfortable in answering the question asked. Apart from that, we can get a rough idea about the religion of the patient. Now the second thing which we ask is the age of the patient. Asking the age will give us the clue to the diagnosis. Some of the diseases are common in particular age group. For example, congenital abnormalities are more common in pediatric age group. For example, cleft lip, cleft palate, or sacrococcygeal teratoma. These are the things commonly seen in the pediatric age group. Apart from that, neuroblastoma and Wilms tumor, these are the malignancies which are more prevalent in children. In the adolescent or young age group, puberty related problems are more common, whereas in the middle age group, occupational diseases and diseases related to the reproductive organs are more common. Obviously, in the older age group, senile conditions such as cataract, osteoarthritis, benign prostatic hyperplasia, these are more common. Also, malignancies are more common in older age group. It is very obvious that reproductive organ related problems are more common in that particular gender. For example, diseases related to the testes, penis, or other reproductive organs are more in males, whereas diseases related to breast, cervix, uterus, these are obviously females. But there are certain diseases like thyroid disorders. These thyroid disorders are more common in females, whereas the occupational diseases and carcinoma of lung, carcinoma of stomach, these are more common in male patients. Another thing which we ask in the demographic data is the occupation. Now why to ask the occupation? Because certain diseases are very common in particular occupation. For example, pneumoconiosis and other respiratory diseases are more common in workers working in a factory. Apart from that, urinary bladder cancer is more common in workers working in a dye company. Also, varicose vein is more common in the persons who are having standing occupations, for example, teachers, policemen, etc. Now, religion also affects the health of the person because different religions have different traditions and customs. For example, carcinoma of penis is very unlikely in Muslims and Jews because of their ritual circumcision practice. But at the same time, Muslims are more at a risk of intussusception, especially after the Ramzan. Knowing about the address of the patient also gives us the diagnostic clue because certain diseases are endemic in particular area. For example, goiter is more common in the sub-Himalayan belt, and also there are some goitrogenic belt where there is less iodine in the water of that particular area. So if the patient is coming from that area with a swelling in the anterior side of the neck, at that time we can think of goiter. Apart from that, address also helps in follow-up of the patient, and also if suppose the patient is having some infectious disease, so we can report to particular authorities and that whole area can be taken care of. As history taking is the part of practical exams for students, so they also ask about the socioeconomic status of the patient, date of admission, date of examination, and also bed number. Now coming to the second segment, that is the chief complaint. While asking, you have to ask what brings you to the hospital. So the patient will be telling you the chief complaints, and that should not be more than 3 or 4. Along with symptoms, we have to ask about the duration of the symptoms. So while recording, all the symptoms should be recorded in a chronological order. Now, what is chronological order? The order in which the symptoms have appeared. For example, if a patient is having fever, pain in abdomen and vomiting. So if the patient has appeared 3 days back, after that patient experienced pain in abdomen since last 2 days, and he is having vomiting, 1 episode of vomiting in the morning. So while recording it, we will be recording fever since 3 days, after that pain in abdomen since 2 days, then vomiting since 1 day. So while writing in this order, we can get a clue of the diagnosis. Remember that the symptoms should come in patient's own language. For example, whenever a patient coming to you with a thyroid swelling, so we have to write that patient is complaining that I have a swelling in front of the neck. Most of the beginner, they have a habit of writing that patient is having swelling in the anterior compartment of the neck, which is absolutely wrong. Suppose 2 symptoms appear at the same time. In that case, we look for the severity of the complaint. More the severity, that will get the priority in the chief complaint list. Now the third segment and the most important is the history of present illness, also called as HOPI. This is the segment where we ask the patient to tell his story. So whatever may be the symptom, patient will be describing it in detail. Many a times beginners are very confused that what is to be asked in the history of present illness. So I'll tell you the 8 things which you will be asking about each and every symptom. First is the onset, whether it is sudden in onset or insidious, so that we get a clue. Second thing is to be asked is the progress, whether it is a slowly progressive or it is rapidly progressive. The diseases which are slowly progressive, these are mostly goes in favor of benign and chronic condition, whereas the rapidly progressing diseases goes more in favor of malignancy. The third thing is the duration. Suppose a patient is suffering from the symptoms since long time, then it will give an idea that it is a chronic condition, whereas if the symptoms have appeared 1 or 2 days back, it goes more in favor of acute condition. Now the fourth thing is the aggravating factor. There are certain actions, activity, or some habits, because of that the symptoms may aggravate. For example, some symptoms they aggravate while patient do any activity or after taking some food. Then we have to ask about the relieving factor. Rest is the relieving factor for most of the symptoms. Apart from that, patient may get relief after taking some medication, so that is to be recorded. The sixth thing is that if the patient is having any associated factor, for example, pain in abdomen may be associated with nausea or vomiting, so we have to take into consideration all these symptoms. The seventh thing is the periodicity. Some of the symptoms they show the diurnal variation. For example, the fever of tuberculosis. The fever of tuberculosis appears mostly in the evening, so we call it as a evening rise of temperature. So some of the symptoms they get aggravated during a particular time of the year or during a particular season. So if a person is allergic to some pollens, so during that season patient will show the symptoms. Eighth thing is the treatment taken for that particular symptom. So whenever we will be asking all these things, it will cover almost everything about that particular symptom. Suppose a patient is having 3 symptoms, so we have to ask these 8 questions, all the 3 symptoms differently. As far as pain is concerned, we have a very famous mnemonic for that, it is Socrates, which suggests S for severity, O for onset, C for character, R for radiation of pain, T for timing of the pain, E for aggravating or relieving factor, whereas S suggests the severity.